Hey everyone, I'm Cara Di Falco. Welcome to Cara's Cucina. This week we are starting off celebrating Thanksgiving, getting ready for probably my most favorite holiday. We're gonna make some pumpkin gnocchi. Great food isn't just about good ingredients and knowing how to cook, it's about telling the story of the food. To make our pumpkin gnocchi, I have 1 can of pumpkin that I've been letting sit in a strainer for about 30 minutes or at least 30 minutes. So we have plenty of liquid that's come out of that because these are gonna be much more light than a traditional gnocchi because of the moisture content of the pumpkin. So we do wanna get a lot of that moisture out of there so they don't fall apart completely. Then we've also got 1 regular potato that we baked and peeled, put through the ricer. That's ready to roll. 3 cups of flour, an egg. We got a little cinnamon and nutmeg and just a touch of honey because again, we do want these to have that fall flavor that we're looking for. So to our flour, we're gonna add in our salt, the cinnamon, and the nutmeg. You can just kind of use your finger and get that incorporated a bit. And you can see we've made our well. We do still have flour at the base. And from here, we're gonna add in our egg. And just start to use our fork a little bit to begin to get this incorporated into some of that flour so it's not quite so liquidy. Now that we have our egg mostly incorporated, we're also gonna add in just a little bit of honey, our pumpkin and our potato, and we're gonna start to get everything incorporated. Do this first. And again, just like we would with pasta dough, we're gonna bring the sides up and around and start to knead everything together. And again, these will be very wet to start with. Once you have your dough all together, all of your flour incorporated, you're just gonna shape it into a small loaf, put it on a floured surface, and we're gonna cover it with a dish towel and just let it rest for a little bit before we start working with it. After your dough has sit for just a little bit, we're gonna work in batches. So we're just gonna take a slice off, keep this covered so it doesn't dry out, and we're gonna roll this into a snake. So I have a bit of flour on my work surface, I have a little bit of extra flour at hand for me. Once we have a snake about this size, so about the thickness of your thumb, we're then gonna cut the gnocchi from this. So again, we're gonna make them not too big. Now, if you want to do gnocchi the lazy way, you can actually leave them like this, but it's not how we roll here. So you're gonna take a fork, the front side of a fork, and you're gonna take your gnocchi, and you're just gonna gently use your thumb to roll them off the fork, and that's what makes that traditional gnocchi shape with the ridges on one side and the little scoop on the inside. That's what helps hold your sauce. So we're gonna roll these like this. And what you'll do is you'll set your rolled gnocchi aside onto a piece of parchment paper with a little sprinkle of additional flour. And from that point, they can rest out in the open air. They don't need to be covered until you cook them. The other thing that you can do with them is if you have them on a cookie sheet, you can actually put the whole sheet in the freezer and freeze the gnocchi until they're solid and then put them in a Ziploc baggie, and they'll hold in your freezer for quite some time and you can use them whenever you're ready. So again, something that you can make in advance, which is always good to have, especially for the holidays. We're gonna get these cooked up in just a bit. We're gonna be making our gnocchi into a butter and sage sauce. So this again is a sauce that we've done here on the show a couple of times. It's probably one of the easiest sauces for pasta you'll ever make. It is literally just 3 ingredients. So we have our butter melted in our pan. I've got a bunch of beautiful fresh sage leaves. We're just gonna drop these in here. I love sage, so I kind of go heavy on it, but you can use about 10 to 12 sage leaves. And that's pretty much it for this. This is ready to rock at this point until we get our pasta in here, and then we're gonna also add in some Parmesan cheese. If you wanna go a step further, you can certainly brown your butter, so you just wanna do that in a stainless steel pan like this, and just keep an eye on it and keep it moving until that butter fat, in fact, starts to brown a little bit. And that's all you're really looking for, but you can just melt the butter and call it a day, and then we'll just keep this on low heat so everything stays warm. In the meantime, I have my pot of salted boiling water, and we're gonna add in our gnocchi. With, as always with fresh pasta, as soon as they float to the top, they're ready, they're cooked. It'll only take about 3 minutes. Our gnocchi are starting to float, so we're just going to spoon them out of the water, let them drain just a bit here, and they're gonna go right into our butter and sage sauce. Give these a quick toss, make sure everything's coated so we don't stick. And then again here, before we finish this off, we're gonna give it a nice pinch of Parmesan cheese. All right, more than a pinch, more like a handful. That is it for this week in the Cucina. That is how you make pumpkin gnocchi. Guys, I hope you incorporate this dish either into your Thanksgiving meal or just make it throughout this beautiful fall and holiday season. It's gonna be a really delicious dish. And again, pretty simple as far as fresh and homemade pasta goes. You can get the written recipe at caradifalco.com. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Cara Di Falco and learn all kinds of great foodie tips along the way. That is it for this week. I'll see you guys next time. Buon appetito.